Hey guys, it's Rich with your Monday Spot on the Pagan Perspective, and this week's question comes from Yucca and reads as follows. What inspired you to audition to be a host on the Pagan Perspective, and how has it influenced your practice? So, a little background, if you guys are not familiar, or if you are just now viewing, is I came into the Pagan Perspective in year 2. I had watched all of the first year's videos, I think from the time that they started. It was either from the time that they started or a few months after. So yeah, I had a lot of background on what the Pagan Perspective was. I was still very much a newbie, and I take no animosity to that label because I was very much a newbie. And I also identified as a Christian Wiccan. So I identify now as a Christo-Pagan, so yeah. A little bit different, but not all that different. Anyway, I didn't have a goddess. I had differing views from my upbringing and from how I viewed things, I guess. I don't know really how to describe it because I was just coming into the practice. So I had been studying this thing called paganism and Wicca and wanting to know more about it. I was watching the Pagan Perspective channel, and I was watching Carr's channel. I was watching, there was a few others that I watched a lot of their videos and got a lot of knowledge from. And I started to do my own channel to give my unique perspective as a Christian Wiccan at the time. And saw that my views weren't totally different, but there were some things that I differed on the grander scheme. Things that we can agree to disagree on, and certainly have in the past, and I'm sure will continue in the future. So I saw the Pagan Perspective as this place that we can discuss our differences, we can discuss what's similar, and actually get into some nitty-gritty of doing some research and expanding knowledge, because knowledge is power. So I very much enjoyed the premise behind the Pagan Perspective and what it brought to the community. And you don't really see that in Christianity. You don't see people coming out of church and then discussing the sermon and discussing their differing views, or if they have opinions of, you know, to expand upon it. So stuff like that you can see in the Pagan Perspective, you can see in the pagan community. We will discuss our differing views and why they differ, and we don't sit there and say, well, it's okay for you to be wrong, in that passive-aggressive way that so many people do. And so I saw that with the Pagan Perspective, and I kind of just, I thought that, you know, it's something bigger than myself that I need to be a part of for one reason or another. And I can't remember exactly what the reasons were back then, but I know what they are now. And the reason why I stay is because there is so much being given to the community, and this is my way of giving to the community. If I can't do that in any other sense than to put a video out there once a week, three weeks out of the month, if I can't do that little tiny bit, then can I really call myself a spiritual being? Or at least that's what it is for me, to be a spiritual being, to relate these messages back and forth to people and get other opinions all balled up into one video and whatnot. So I think I'm kind of rambling, but I think it kind of makes sense in a way. It's been something that has inspired my practice. It's influenced my practice immensely by bringing to me these topics that I may never have thought of. There are, let's see, one of my favorite topics that we've done is probably the one on dudism. I never thought that was even a thing. I didn't know anything about it. The Jediism, that one, I didn't know anything about it. So there's been topics out there that I have no clue that these were even a thing. And then I find out that everything is a thing. So in knowing that now, I can't believe that I was so surprised at the time. But even looking at it still now, it's like, okay, what have we not covered? And what's coming down the pike next. You know, it's that constant, what am I going to learn about next week or the week after that or next month? What's going to come into light of my practice that I didn't know about, that I didn't know was a thing yet? And how does that influence my practice? One thing that has inspired my practice more is the one we did on spirit keeping. Now, I like that topic, I really do. There were things that I disagreed with on the vernacular of it, but I like that concept, and I have been playing around with that concept, and I put that in air quotes, playing around. But I love that topic of, you know, having that connection to a being through an object. That's something that has taken a part in my practice. So there are certain things that have been covered in the Pagan Perspective that I've started to incorporate in my practice. You know, a little bit more than what it was if I had already known about it. And in some cases, totally new to me that I've started to look into and to start incorporating in my practice. So, in summation of all this rambling, what made me come to the Pagan Perspective, can't really remember. But I saw a community there, and I saw a need for me to be there in a way to give my differing perspectives and my differing views, and to, you know, be a part of something bigger than myself. And in a way, that is still the reason that I do it, you know, to produce one video a week for 3 weeks out of the month. And yeah, it's my way of giving to the community. In other ways, I'd like to give to the community more, but in the past and currently right now, I'm not able to do that as much. So this is my way of giving to the community in a way, and making room or making a space for that conversation to happen about certain topics that are kind of heavier. So for me, influencing my practice, it's brought things that I didn't know were a thing into my practice, and it's also given me different perspectives on things that were already a thing in my practice. So anyway, I love the Pagan Perspective. I love being here. I think it is a privilege, and I see that as a privilege. I note it as a privilege on my little privilege sheet. So yeah, I do realize that it is an immense privilege to be able to be here to talk to you guys through the interwebs and whatnot. And I hope that I will be able to be here for many years to come. It's one of those things in my life that has become a staple of my weekly practice, is to sit down and do a video, or stand up and do a video. To do this video, to get it out to the world, to research some of these topics that kind of make you think a little bit more than what you usually do about a certain topic. And completely make you realize something that you didn't know was a thing. So anyway, with all that being said, I don't think I have anything more to add, and I think I'm just rambling anyway. So until next time, may y'all have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.